In this episode of Order Up, I'm going to show you how I think cookies can actually make Kwanzaa lit. But before we get into that, we're going to do three things. I'm going to explain the origins of Kwanzaa. I'm going to discuss why I think certain holidays are lit and certain holidays are not lit. And then lastly, I'm going to make the case for cookies to be the thing that helps make Kwanzaa reach nationwide adoption. Like, a lot of people know about it, but it's not really being adopted by a lot of people. And I think cookies can help solve that problem. Let's go. All right, so first, a little primer about Kwanzaa. So for those of you who don't know, Kwanzaa was created in 1966 by an activist named Mualanga Karinga. If I'm not pronouncing his name correctly, I apologize. Charge my head, not my heart. Kwanzaa was created by him as an annual African-American celebration of culture, right? It lasts from December 26th to January 1st. So each day represents a different principle. Those 7 principles together are called the Nguzo Saba. And so what he basically did was took pieces from different West African and Southeast African harvest festivals, along with some things that I guess he liked, and put it all together, and boom, you got a 7-day celebration known as Kwanzaa. Those 7 principles, the Nguzo Saba, right? Each day represents something different. So for instance, day 1 is Ujamaa, which stands for unity. Day 2, Kujikajalia, stands for self-determination. Day 3, Ujima, stands for collective work and responsibility. Day 4, Ujamaa, represents cooperative economic. Day 5 is Nia, which stands for purpose. Day 6 is Kuumba, which represents creativity. And then day 7 is Amani, which represents faith. I have a niece named Amani. You might have a niece or a cousin named Amani or Nia. The other ones, super Swahili, but African Americans have already adopted the words Nia and Amani into our vernacular, so those 2 words at least should be familiar to you. Now, on December 31st, you're supposed to have this big feast called the Karamu, and we're gonna come back to that, but you come together in a communal sense and you eat together before the start of the new year. And part of this whole Kwanzaa cookie thing comes from seeing that feast and thinking I think this feast, or at least a part of this feast, can be used to blow Kwanzaa up. But we'll talk about that later on. But what is important is that food often plays a role into whether a holiday becomes lit. And by lit, let me define lit. Lit in this sense means adopted by a lot of people in this country. There's a whole bunch of holidays. Some of them we celebrate hard, some of them we don't celebrate at all. Some of them some people celebrate but everybody else doesn't. But there are a couple of holidays that everybody goes hard for. Speaking of holidays that people go hard for, Christmas is just passed not too long ago, and if you Google the words Christmas and capitalism, you will find tons of articles talking about how Christmas has devolved into this big shopping free-for-all. It's not about Jesus, it's not about taking care of your neighbor, it's about how much stuff we can get. And Christmas, I think, is just the most extreme version of the ideal that I presented in the last segment, which is, in order for a holiday to get mass adoption in this country, there needs to be a commercial element tied to it. So even if we look at our federal holidays, right? Holidays like New Year's Day or New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, you have Thanksgiving, Independence Day, Veterans Day, and Memorial Day. Now, if we think about it, each one of those holidays definitely has a commerce component. So for instance, with New Year's Eve, okay? New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, people are buying champagne, they're buying fireworks, they're buying clothes, new clothes to go out to a New Year's Eve party. They might even be buying plane tickets. They might be buying hotel rooms, right? Because they want to go somewhere and celebrate the new year. Thanksgiving, same way. A lot of traveling, a lot of lodging, a lot of food purchases. Independence Day, a lot of people traveling, buying fireworks, and a whole lot of food. Veterans Day. Veterans Day has become discount day. My parents are both veterans. They look forward to Veterans Day because they're always trying to find out where they can get something for free or at an extreme discount. And even Memorial Day. People travel, at least in the South. South, people travel for Memorial Day. I don't know if they do that across the nation. Y'all can let me know in the comments if people outside of the South travel for Memorial Day, but it's a big deal down South, and people will travel for Memorial Day. So you got the lodging, right? You got the plane tickets or the gas money, but then obviously, just like Independence Day, just like Thanksgiving or Christmas, it's another big food day. So Memorial Day, grocery stores are cashing in on that as well. Even holidays that are not officially recognized by the federal government are lit because of some commercial component. And if you don't believe me, we about to go down the list. Easter. Now, I can't speak for everybody. I've only been black. That's the only experience I have in this country. But as a black person, Easter meant candy and new clothes and speeches, but that's a conversation for another day. St. Patrick's Day, booze, beer. Oh, and also clothing retailers can get into the habit of making these St. Patrick's Day sales because you have to wear green. Otherwise, you're going to get pinched by somebody, I guess. For a nation full of xenophobic people who are allegedly against Mexicans or Mexico or whatever the case may be, we sure love celebrating Cinco de Mayo. So you're going to get your beer and your tacos, mostly from Mexican restaurants, but I mean, no one's stopping you if you're not Mexican and you want to sell beer and tacos on Cinco de Mayo, because everybody thinks it's Mexican Independence Day anyway. You might as well make some money off of it. Halloween, of course, candy and costumes. That doesn't include like adult Halloween parties that might have booze or some food component. And of course, Valentine's Day, bruh. We even have days that are not holidays, but they kind of are holidays that are specifically made to get you to shop. Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Now, I just want to reiterate, Kwanzaa is not about buying gifts. In fact, I went to the NMAAHC website, and for those of you who don't know, National Museum of African American History or Culture, but most people just call it the Black Smithsonian Museum or Black Smithsonian. Now, they have a blog post talking about Kwanzaa, and it talks about 3 things that Kwanzaa is about. The first thing is to reaffirm and restore African heritage and culture. The second thing is to introduce and reinforce the Nguzo Saba, or the 7 principles. And last but not least, to serve as a nationally celebrated communal and non-heroic holiday. So translation, Kwanzaa is not about unconscious consumption, nor is it about lifting up any one person, right? No Santa, no Easter Bunny, no Martin Luther King, because we do have Martin Luther King Day, right? Not even Martin Luther King. It's not about lifting up any one person. It's about bringing us together as a community or a family. But we have to be honest with ourselves, okay? If Kwanzaa is going to be lit, it's gonna have to have a commercial aspect to it. There's no getting around it. And I would agree that if you just listen to the 3 points that I made about Kwanzaa, and nowhere does it say buy your homeboy or your husband or your girlfriend or your children a whole bunch of stuff. But if a holiday takes root, it only does so in this country if there's something attached to it in terms of a gift or a product that you can identify with that holiday. And this is why I'm proposing Kwanzaa cookies. Here are the reasons why I think Kwanzaa cookies should be a thing. We can actually make this a part of Kwanzaa without like going outside the bounds of what Kwanzaa already is. Number 1, cookies are very easy to make, and socioeconomic disparities are real. Some people can spend $100 on cookies, some people can spend $1.99 on cookies, and no matter what your disposable income, you can participate. You can make cookies with your people at whatever budget or range your pockets can allow. Secondly, remember we talked about the Karamu, that big party on December 31st? It's actually a big feast. And of course, why couldn't you bring cookies to the feast? It just makes sense. We already supposed to eat. This could just be a thing that you bring to the feast. Like me, if you're like the designated paper towel or paper plate bringer to your family function, you can be also responsible for bringing the cookie. And last but not least, okay, both corporations and small businesses can get behind Kwanzaa cookies. Think about all the dope black bakeries or bakers or caterers that you know. Why couldn't they sell in advance, just like they do with their sweet potato pies for Thanksgiving? Why couldn't they just advertise, hey, get your Kwanzaa cookies here? Think about New Orleans, right? And king cake. King cake is a vital part of the New Orleans tradition of Mardi Gras. Businesses big and small sell king cake. I think Kwanzaa cookies could be a good economic driver at the end of the year for a lot of these small black businesses and even corporations. Not that I'm on the side of corporations, but like, you know who I think would get down with this idea of Kwanzaa cookies? Target. Target 100% would get behind this. I mean, they already did some work with Ghetto Gastro, or rather, they put Ghetto Gastro products in their stores. Tabitha Brown did a line with Target. Houston White, also found in Target. A lot of black creators and designers have been able to establish some kind of product line within Target. So I feel like Target is right in line to be like the first major corporation to make Kwanzaa cookies a thing. In fact, if there's anybody from Target watching, holla at your boy. Okay, let's make Kwanzaa cookies a thing. Y'all are already making Halloween cookies and 4th of July cookies and Christmas cookies. We can just add Kwanzaa cookies to the rotation you already have, baby. Come on now. Let's think about the future. And let's get money. And let's blow up Kwanzaa. Because if Target says Kwanzaa is cool, then other people at minimum will have to pay attention. Doesn't mean they're going to celebrate, but if they like, oh, I can just buy cookies and take it to my friend's house on December 31st and I'm like a part of the Kwanzaa spirit, it's a start, right? You've learned about the history of Kwanzaa. You've learned why I think that the only holidays that pop in America are holidays with a commercial component. We also learned what Kwanzaa cookies are and the reasons why I think Kwanzaa cookies could be added to the already dope celebration of Kwanzaa to get more people in the door, right? Get one foot in the Kwanzaa door. But that's not it. The next video I do, I spoke to some black chefs and bakers about, okay, if we did Kwanzaa cookies, like what would that look like? And so the next video, we're gonna talk about what some people have given me their ideas for Kwanzaa cookies. So that should be dope. And if you're not already subscribed, like I'm sorry I waited to the end, but please subscribe. If you're already here, if you're at the end, please subscribe. I really would appreciate it. Peace.